So the dollar probably is to an extent, and I think that little by little, that faith is eroding. I mean, look at like there was some study that I saw somebody was talking about today on X, where they were talking about the how much no, it was on TikTok, and he was talking about the faith that Gen X, millennials, and Zoomers are losing in the idea of democracy. Again, I'm going to substitute the word democracy for like government as a whole or the system as a whole, because democracy is mob rule in a sports code, as Doug Casey likes to point out, and it's not. I mean, like, that's just two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. Like, that's just mob rule. Okay, so I'm going to substitute that word and say what they probably mean more than likely is the system, whatever this is, right? They're losing faith in that rapidly. Part of what's holding that system together, in fact, the only thing at this point holding it together is two things. Number one is the dollar. Number two is fear. That's it. That's it. It's the same thing that held, actually, the Soviet Union near the very end of it. Only thing that held it together was fear. And once the fear went away, the Soviet Union like collapsed in like a week. I mean, it just went away almost instantly. But by our standards, we would look at that and go, dude, it was blink of an eye. Yeah, it was damn near a blink of an eye. Well, so in the case of right now, it's fear and the dollar that are holding it together. And the only reason the dollar is holding it together is because it's able to be used in other countries, right? Where once again, right in the news, we have this whole Elon Vivek nonsense where they want to just replace Americans. That is exactly what they want to do. I don't want to hear any of this best and brightest bullshit. Come on. That's fucking bullshit, and everybody knows that. No, they want to replace Americans with cheaper labor. And the other challenge, of course, this is less talked about. It's not just the cheap labor. It's that they know a lot of that money will leave the country. If the money stays in the country, you will start to see inflation. And the people that are catching wise to all of this will start paying off debt. And remember, we've been over this. What is an overheated economy? An overheated economy is poor people paying off debt. And we cannot have that. You have to have poor people and the middle class, and like, you have to have all these people drowning in debt constantly, because that's what makes up the dollar. Well, so in the case of social media, for example, a lot of people, and I'm going to shift gears slightly, but it's on topic. Social media has changed the landscape of the world completely, right? And we all agree on that. I think that's pretty much consensus at this point. I'm not going to go into the argument of consensus, but I mean, like, it's pretty much consensus that social media has changed things for real. Now, we see social media from our perspective, right? The social media user. What about the social media owners? They have access to data points that none of us have access to, right? All the social media owners, they have a lot of access to an enormous amount of information, of all of your information, every keystroke, every post that you didn't even post, you typed it and then deleted it before you even posted it. Yeah, that doesn't really delete, that's still there. They keep all that, okay? I deliberately type the most inflammatory stuff I can possibly think, and then I just save it to drafts. Because I'm messing with their heads. Anyway, I do that stuff deliberately. You have to know my sense of humor. Anyway, but they know all of this stuff, okay? So they know that even the normies in America, I'm talking specifically to Americans at this point now, they know that the normies in America are getting really pissed off. And they know that there's more and more people like me starting to talk about the dollar. Left or right, doesn't matter. They're starting to talk about the dollar and like, hey, this is really a problem. So now they need to try and cover all this up as quickly as they can, because normies are starting to see this. And so before you know it, the jig is up. Well, yeah, that's what's happening. So right now, let's protect the dollar at all costs, because that's kind of what's holding this all together. And again, once the fear goes away, it's gone. So do I think that it'll continue? Well, it'll continue until people decide not to take it and are able to kick out all the people who will take it, right? That's the position I come at the immigration problem. It has nothing to do with whether somebody wants to move here and become an American. Not at this point. What we need to see is a hard reset. We need to see the end of the mega corporation, the end of the mega government, and the end, definitely the end of mega banking. If we can see the end of all three of those things, then it's not as big a deal when you have a hard currency. Then people who want to come here, they can, but it's not going to be any fun for them because they're not going to have any giveaways. And they're going to have to compete against everybody here who actually knows what the fuck they're actually doing. So, hope that answers your question.